You've got Howard Marks, right? A total legend in the investing world. But he'll be the first to tell you he's no tech guru. So, when this whole AI thing just exploded, he decided he had to get his head around it. And the way he did it, well, it's pretty unusual. We're going to follow along on his journey of discovery.
So what did he do? He didn't just hop on Google. No, he went straight to the source. He asked an AI, Anthropic's model Claude, to write him a personalized 10,000-word tutorial explaining itself. And the results? Honestly, stunning doesn't even begin to cover it.
I mean, this wasn't some dry, robotic printout. Not at all. The response he got from Claude actually referenced Mark's own past writings. It used his favorite metaphors about investor psychology, and it even seemed to anticipate his arguments before he made them. It felt less like getting information and more like having a real conversation.
And right away, this gets to the heart of a massive misunderstanding most of us have. Marx realized that an AI isn't just a fancy search engine that spits back information. It's been trained on mountains of data to understand patterns, to build arguments, and to apply what it's learned to brand new situations. In a very real sense, it's learning how to think. So that first big aha moment immediately snowballed into a much deeper, way more philosophical question. It's the one that everyone, from tech CEOs to artists, is wrestling with right now. Can a machine actually be creative? Can it come up with a truly new idea? And Marx just framed this question perfectly. Look, we all know AI is great at rearranging and reconfiguring stuff that humans have already figured out. But can it, muse? Can it daydream? Can it have that sudden flash of intuition that changes everything? Can it connect dots that have never been connected before? Okay, so here's the classic argument from the skeptics. They'd say it's all just incredibly sophisticated pattern matching. It's a remix, right? It's like a really, really talented cover band. It's learned from every song ever written. So sure, it can play a great tune in any style you want, but can it compose something truly new? No way.
But then you get this brilliant counterargument from Claude itself. The AI basically turned the question right back on Howard Marks. It said, hey, Howard, everything you know about investing, you learned it from other people, right? From Benjamin Graham, from Warren Buffett. He took all those inputs, synthesized them, and created his own novel insights. So Claude asks, how is that any different from what an AI is doing?
And this is where we get to that key term you hear absolutely everywhere now, generative AI. The word generative is the whole point. It means it's not just analyzing stuff. It's actively creating new things, whether that's an email, a chunk of code, or even a whole investment thesis. Claude even argued that this whole philosophical debate about consciousness, while fascinating, might be missing the point. The real question is economic. Think about it. If an AI can do the same work as a $200,000 a year analyst, does it really matter to the person signing the checks whether it's truly thinking or not? The bottom line impact is exactly the same. Okay, let's keep going because this is where the story takes a really dramatic turn. Get this. Howard Marks wrote his first memo on AI in December. By February, just a couple of months later, the whole landscape had changed so much he had to write a follow-up. The pace of this change, it's like nothing we've ever seen before. I mean, just look at this timeline for a second. It took the personal computer almost 40 years to go from an invention to something in most homes. Generative AI, it's gone from a niche tech to a tool used by hundreds of millions of people and most companies in, a couple of years? It's not evolution, it's a nearly instantaneous revolution. And the capabilities are evolving just as ridiculously fast. So back in 2023, we had Chat AI, right? Great for answering questions, saving some brain power. Then by early 2024, we got tool using AI that could actually follow complex instructions. But now we've crossed a totally new threshold. We have autonomous agents. And with these, you don't give it a list of instructions, you give it a goal, and it just figures out the steps to get there all by itself. And believe me, that distinction is monumental. It's the difference between a tool that helps a worker do their job faster and something that just does the job for them. This is not about assistance anymore. This is about replacement. Just listen to how this tech CEO Matt Schumer describes it. It really captures the shock. He says he just describes what he wants built in plain English, walks away, and when he comes back a few hours later, the work is done. Not a rough draft, mind you, the finished product. And a lot of the time, it's better than what he could have done himself.
And it goes beyond just raw execution. Schumer talks about this new quality that's starting to emerge in the latest AIs, something that feels like judgment or taste. That kind of inexplicable sense of just knowing what the right call is, the very thing we all thought was uniquely human.
And then you get to the real climax. This one sentence buried in OpenAI's own technical documents for a new model. Just let this sink in. The AI helped build itself. The AI that they just released was used to create the next version of itself. The tool is now improving the toolmaker. That creates a feedback loop that's accelerating its own development at a speed that is, honestly, it's unimaginable.
Okay, so what in the world does this all mean for investors? All this massive hype, all the money being thrown around? Is this just another tech bubble waiting to burst? Or is this time actually different?
All right, let's break it down. Human versus AI. On one hand, the AI has some huge advantages, right? It can process way more data than any human ever could, and it doesn't have emotional biases like fear and greed. But we humans still have the edge in totally new situations where there's no historical data to go on. Or, when you're trying to assess things like the quality of a company's management team.
So back to the big question, is it a bubble? Well, Howard Marks's take is pretty nuanced. He says, look, is the tech real? Absolutely. And its potential is vast. Is this some distant dream? No, the demand is here right now. But that doesn't mean every single investment is going to be a home run. He sees a huge risk of what he calls malinvestment, just bad spending, in the rush to build out all the infrastructure. And as for a lot of these startup valuations, he just calls them lottery tickets.
So his advice is pretty much what you'd expect, prudent and balanced. He's saying don't go all in, but definitely don't stay all out. The potential here is just too massive to ignore completely. It seems like taking a moderate, very selective position is probably the most sensible way to navigate all this uncertainty.
And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most important, question of all. Forget the markets for a second. Forget the tech. What does all of this mean for us? For our jobs, for our economy, for our society as a whole?
There's this one analogy in the memo that is just so powerful. It goes like this. Earlier versions of AI were like a faster horse. They helped knowledge workers do their job more efficiently. But these new autonomous agents, they're the automobile. They don't just make the horse go faster, they replace the horse. And in doing so, they completely restructure the entire economy. And that, right there, is the central fear. Yeah, in the past, technology always created new jobs to replace the old ones. But the critical difference this time is the sheer speed of it all. This change could happen so fast that society just doesn't have time to adjust. To create new roles, to retrain millions of people, there might just not be enough time. So where does that leave us? Well, we're stuck with a pretty unsettling reality. We've built a technology that can learn, that can act, and that can even improve itself. And it's doing it all at a speed that's starting to outpace our own ability to understand it. So the question really isn't just what can AI do anymore? The real question is, what happens to us when the things we create start evolving faster than we can?